Hello, my dear students. So that finally you are all done with your CA into auditing examination. So just I wanted to do a quick analysis of the question paper for this May 2024 examination. See, if you have already given this attempt for the CA into auditing examination, you might have experienced, I would say this question paper is a bit easy one. This question paper is a bit easy one. It is very easy to score the 40 marks. It is very easy to get passed in the examination. Getting passed in this examination is very easy. So looking at the descriptive questions, I'm able to see, yes, it is very easy to get passed. And I have heard from a few students that MCQs were also easy. So keeping that in mind, it is very easy to score 55 plus marks from this auditing paper. If you are here and there, a few tricky questions are there, but overall, when I keep in mind the overall question paper pattern, overall complexity, overall concepts, whatever they have tested, yes, on an average student who has done a reasonable level of preparation, he could easily score 50 plus marks from this question paper. So that is what my overall view on this question paper. So you can also share how you felt about the question paper, what things you felt easy, where you felt difficult, that you can share it with me in the comment section. Yes, and one more thing, and one more interesting thing which I wanted to share it with you here. If you have watched 3.5 days of preparation strategy, I have uploaded a video on YouTube explaining you how you have to utilize that 3.5 days of time. In that, I have specifically mentioned that MTPs, RTPs you have to specifically cover. And in the last 3 days, as you could observe, I have been continuously updating every day MTP1, MTP detailed explanations I was doing. MTP1, MTP2, RTP. For each MTP, for each RTP, I have taken 1.5 hours of time. 1.5 hours, and even MTP1 has gone for 2.5 hours also. So if you would have followed that videos, if you would have gone that if you would have gone through that MTPs and RTPs before you have gone for the examination, I'm telling you guys, so many questions were there which are very direct from the MTPs and RTPs. So that's why I insisted a lot to go through the MTPs and RTPs, and in the last 2-3 days, that's why I have done that much lengthy recordings for the MTPs and RTPs to explain you the concept behind that descriptive questions. And also the marathon, as you all are aware, the marathon is also from the marathon, whatever concepts we focused a lot from those concepts, also the questions were there. So overall, it's a win-win situation for you. So I hope you would have all given your examination in a great manner. And I wish that you get a very good marks in the examination. When the results come out, I wish that you also get very good marks in the auditing paper and all other subjects. Yeah, finally, so let us not waste our time further. Let us directly go into the question paper analysis. But I would suggest you, if you have any doubts, if you are such a person who get tensed easily by hearing something which you did not which if you have gone wrong, and if you hear to someone correcting you, if you feel tense, see, I'm not telling it is bad actually, but some students will have that kind of attitude. So they will get tensed actually when someone says that they have done something wrong. They will get tensed actually. I would say, don't watch this video. For those students, don't watch this. You see, it's nothing going to happen whether you watch this video or not, or don't watch this video. Nothing is going to happen. Your examination is already over. Just for the sake of convenience, I'm explaining this question paper, that's it. So if you are such a person who gets tensed easily by looking at the by finding that you have gone wrong, so I would say, if you are such a person, please stay away from this video. You have only one more examination left for the CA Inter, so concentrate on your efforts on the coming examination. So you have given your examination for CA Inter Audit, so nothing is going to happen now. So just for the sake of your convenience, I'm explaining the question paper. If you are such a person who will get tensed, please stay away from this explanation. Please concentrate on the last examination. Okay, so that's what one suggestion I would like to give you. So having said that, let me proceed further with the questions. Right, see, I'm going to explain in an overall manner what could be the expected answer for the given question. Okay, so starting with question number 1. So if you have a look at the question number 1, the question number 1 says APR and Associates, a chartered accountant firm, are appointed as auditors of Time Limited and also Bakes Limited. The volume and nature of business of both the companies are entirely different. That means both the entities are different. CAR is the engagement partner for Bakes Limited. CAP is the engagement partner for Time Limited. CAR formulates an audit program for conducting audit of Bakes Limited. He suggests CAP to use the same audit program for Time Limited. So you tell me, audit program developed for one entity, can that be used as it is for another entity? No, we have to customize the audit program as per the requirements of the client. We cannot follow the same, we can't standardize the audit program. Do you remember this paragraph from the chapter Audit Strategy, Planning and Program, when we have discussed one detailed question regarding audit program? There will be one paragraph talking about the standardized audit program. So that paragraph you have to refer. Along with that, but CAP of the opinion that this audit program will not be useful for the audit of Time Limited. So in light of the above, mention the matters that should generally be considered while preparing an audit program. So now if you come to the question, what are the points which you are required to consider while developing an audit program? There will be some 5-6 points. What points you need to keep in mind while developing the audit program? So that 5-6 points you are supposed to write. And also, is CAP correct in emphasizing for a different audit program for time limited? Yes, he's correct in telling he's correct. So the other engagement partner is telling we can't use one standardized audit program for all the clients. Yes, he is very much correct. You have to justify by writing that standardized audit program paragraph. So straightforward question, no much complication. The question might look lengthy, but overall, if you read the last paragraph, the question is pretty much straightforward. Next one. So this is from audit strategy, audit planning and program. Okay, next one. See, this is actually question number 1B is actually from accounts. It is from accounts, and you would find there are so many questions which are related to accounts also here. There are so many questions which are related to accounts. I will show that also. So if you read this question, this is a question from AS2. See how lucky you are. So even from accounting standards also you are getting the questions, and that too simple questions they have tested from the accounts in this particular auditing examination. Not advanced accounting questions, very simple, basic. The basic aspects relating to accounting, whatever are there, on that they have tested the questions. So ABC and Co are in the business of manufacturing toys. The stock taking process has been done by the company as on 31st of March 2024. The company has used a FIFO method for valuation of its inventories. The cost of inventory is 25,25,000 and the NRV of the inventory on the same date is 25,24,000. So how they arrived at that 25,25,000, that they have given the breakup. The cost of inventory, how they derived this value, 25,05,000 was the material cost, allocated transport cost 18,000 and abnormal wastage 2,000. So as we all know, abnormal wastage should not be considered while calculating the cost of the inventory. So the cost will become 25,23,000. We have to compare it with the NRV, cost or NRV, whichever is lower, that has to be taken for. So you have to write the provisions relating to AS2, and then you have to say what will be the value of the, what will be the cost, what will be the value of the inventory in the financial statements. So straightforward basic accounts related question they have tested in 1B. So I told you one more question is also there from the accounts. No, yes, I will show you that. There's one more question directly from the accounts. So that question is this one, this D, last question. So I think 6D is the last question. This is also relating to accounts only. So let us see what is the question they are asking. JK Limited has opened a new manufacturing unit, and for that they want plant and machinery. Since the capital outflow will be huge, they are considering of taking it on lease. They have approached several parties and have shortlisted one of them who is ready to give the plant on lease for 11 years, which is approximately the estimated useful life of the asset. Lease period is more or less equal to the useful life of the asset. As per the agreement, JK Limited, that is the lessee, will bear the insurance and maintenance expenses of the asset. Which kind of lease agreement have JK Limited entered into, and what is the ownership status? So which kind of lease agreement they have entered? They have entered into finance lease. So you have to write a few conditions regarding finance lease, and you have to say that in the given case it was a finance lease. And in addition to that, you have also required you have to require accounting treatment also. You have to recognize it as an asset, you have to recognize it as a liability, and what tax benefits you are going to get. See, from this, since you have capitalized it as an asset, there will be depreciation. You can claim that depreciation as an expense in the statement of P&L, and also whatever interest on that liability which you will recognize, that interest also you can claim it as an expense in the statement of P&L. And also there will be one question in the MTP. If I'm not wrong, I don't exactly remember whether it is MTP or RTP. In MTP or RTP also there is one straight away question, explain the differences between operating lease and finance lease and explain the tax benefits. This question is more or less related to that question from the RTP or MTP. I don't exactly remember whether it is from the RTP or MTP. Even I don't exactly remember is it from MTP1 or MTP2. But somewhere in the last 2-3 days, whatever videos I have uploaded, from there this question is there. In one question they have asked what are the differences between operating lease versus finance lease. Don't you think this question is more or less related to that concept only? From the RTP I can say this question is from the RTP or MTP. 3 marks. Next one. So coming to the, see, there should be one more question regarding there will be one more question regarding this from the accounts. I will tell you, I will show it that to you. There will be one question, which items should not be included in the PPA, like that one question also will be there. This one, HR and Associates are the auditors of large manufacturing company. The company has recently invested huge in property, plant and equipment for its new unit. They have added many incidental expenses to the cost of PPE. The junior audit team members are not sure about which cost should be excluded from the cost of PPE. Give examples of the cost that should not form part of PPE. Don't you think this is also a straightforward accounts related question? Yes or no? So which item should not be included in the cost of PPE? So you have to refer to the AS10. In the AS10 you will find which kind of cost should be capitalized, which kind of cost should not be capitalized. Regarding PPE there is a separate examples will be there. So that examples you are required to reproduce here. So I would say accounts related question, but this will be there in our material as a part of audit of items of the financial statements. Okay, so if you could see how many questions are relating to accounts. So 4 marks here, one more 3 marks here, 4 plus 3, 7 marks, and one more question. In question 1B is also there, 4 marks, 4 plus 4 plus 3, 8 plus 3, 11 marks are relating to accounting concepts. Interesting. Okay. So now let us talk about few more questions. Next one. So I'll come to question number C. Mr. Z, at the time of appointment as an independent director in EF Limited, a listed company, came to know that Companies Act 2013 has placed a greater emphasis on effective implementation and reporting on internal controls for a listed company. He wants to know the responsibilities as casted under Companies Act 2013 with regard to the internal financial controls regarding directors, independent directors, audit committee, etc. So they are asking you to write about internal financial controls, write the definition of internal financial controls, write when they are applicable, and for which companies internal financial controls will not be applicable. So we have seen in the audit reporting chapter. So when internal financial controls are not required to be mandatorily implemented in the organization, so just something related to that internal financial controls you are supposed to write here. So 3 marks, very easy question. Understood? But more or less here, law related here, these aspects are actually relating to some Companies Act related section specific they have asked. But what you could have done is you could have written that definition of internal financial controls, its reporting requirements, and in addition to that, you could have also written for which cases internal financial controls will not become applicable. That also, if you could have written, that would give you a good marks. Next one. Coming to the next question. So this I will say more or less related to internal financial controls. That concept will be there in our material as a part of risk assessment and internal control. Next one. Next question. CAB, an auditor, after the completion of busy audit season, was occupied in assembly of the final audit file of one of his clients. First of all, he started preparing various documents of that client and then kept those documents in various folders. He was preparing documents as well as audit file in a paper form because he delivered that he believed that it is mandatory. He could complete documentation as well as assembly of the final audit file of the client after 3 months. Assembly of final audit file. He completed that assembly of final audit file after 3 months. Do you think it is acceptable? No. Why? Because SQC1 says you have to assemble the audit file within 60 days from the date of the auditor's report. They are telling after 3 months from the date of the auditor's report. That is wrong actually. So generally, he retains audit file of the client for 4 years. Do you think it is correct? No. Why? Because SQC1 says you have to retain the auditor documentation for a period of 7 years from the date of the auditor's report. So this question is from the audit documentation chapter, assembly of final audit file. This question is also there in RTP or MTP. I don't exactly remember. So this concept is also there, assembly of the final audit file. So this question is more or less related to the RTP or MTP, straightforward question. If you have referred RTP and MTP, I am telling you guys, easily you could have scored 30 marks, 25 to 30 marks from the RTP or MTPs. Okay, so but whatever it is, this is from audit documentation and this is regarding that assembly of the final audit file. So D is also done. Now let us come to the next part. Question number 2A. CAQ is the engagement partner for the audit of departmental store. As a part of risk assessment procedure, he wants to make inquiries of the management and others within the entity. What kind of information could the auditor get? By inquiring from the following. Once again, risk assessment and internal control chapter. In that risk assessment and internal control chapter also, if you look at our material, there will be question number 2, which says what will be included in the risk assessment procedures. There we say risk assessment procedures includes inquiries. Also, risk assessment procedures includes inspection and observation. Also, it includes analytical procedures also. And in that inquiries part, we have told with whom and all auditor can inquire, and by inquiring what and all you will get to know some 7-8 points will be there. Out of that 7-8 points, they are asking you only 4 points. So if you inquire with the internal audit team, what you will get to know? If you inquire with in-house legal counsel, like you will get to know about pending cases and litigations. If you inquire with marketing or sales person, you will come to know about the sales trend. If you inquire with the information system person, you will come to know what kind of systems they are using, what kind of IT specific risk they are facing. So some 7 or 8 points will be there which talk about inquiring about different people. They are not talking about all the inquiries. They are only talking about with inquiring with 4 people, what you will get. See how simply you can get the 4 marks here, right? So this question is from risk assessment and internal control chapter. Now coming to the next part. CAZ, the auditor of MNO Limited, during the course of audit, assesses a risk of material misstatement regarding the litigations and claims. The moment you read the litigations and claims, which standard should immediately come to your mind? SA 501 should immediately come to your mind. So CAZ, the auditor of MNO Limited, during the course of audit, assesses a risk of material misstatement regarding the litigations and claims involving the company. CAZ is not convinced with the management's explanations regarding the state of litigations or claims. It is considered unlikely that the entity's external legal counsel will respond appropriately to a letter of general inquiry. The auditor sent a letter of specific inquiry requesting the entity's external legal counsel to communicate directly with the auditors, list out the inclusions in the letter of specific inquiry. So you can communicate with the entity's external legal counsel. So when you perform the risk assessment procedures, if you find the risk of material misstatement is there, that means there is a chance that some litigations might not have come to your notice, then you have to communicate with the entity's external legal counsel through a letter of inquiry prepared by the management, sent by the auditor, asking the external legal counsel to respond directly back to the auditor regarding the litigations and claims. So that specific thing you are required to write. Next, in certain circumstances, the auditor may judge it necessary to meet the entity's external legal counsel to discuss the likely outcome of the litigations or claims. What will be the auditor's responsibility, or what will be the auditor's reporting responsibility if the management refuses to give the permission to the auditor communicate or meet with the entity's external legal counsel? See, when you look at the marathon, I have specifically stressed on this part. When I was explaining SA 501, I have specifically stressed on this part, that when you are required, when it is not just enough to communicate through a letter of inquiry, when it will be required for the auditor to meet with the entity's external legal counsel, when the risk is very high, when the matter is very complex, when there is a disagreement between whatever the management is telling and the external legal counsel is responding. And in case if you are unable to get any responses from the entity's external legal counsel, you have to perform alternative audit procedures. If you are unable to perform alternative audit procedures, finally you have to give the modified opinion. So this part specifically I have stressed a lot, and this is also there in the MTPs or RTPs. I don't exactly remember where it is, but this part is there in the RTPs or MTPs. Why? Because just in the last 2-3 days I have recorded that videos. That thing is there in my mind. Yes, this part is there. This particular question is there in the RTPs and MTPs. Same similar kind of question is there. Next one. Coming to the next part, JK Limited was having a paper manufacturing, and looking at the demand, it was of the view pager manufacturing, sorry. And looking at the demand, it was of the view that the company will grow continuously in the future. But with the introduction of the mobile phones in the market, the plant was shut down completely. The shareholders of the company were of the view that auditor failed to perform their duty and have not informed to them about the company's inability to continue its business. Otherwise, they might not have suffered the loss. List down the factors giving rise to inherent limitations due to which auditor cannot provide the guarantee that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. So by reading this last paragraph, everyone will become aware. So this question is regarding inherent limitations. So this question is regarding inherent limitations. Everybody will come to know about it, but I will tell you what you would have done. Most of the students would have written entire answer. All the inherent limitations you might have written, but not required, guys. There will be only one paragraph. Future events regarding one paragraph will be there. Even if you write that future events paragraph also, you will get the full marks. But even if you have written the entire inherent limitations also, fine, well and good. But a apt answer is only that future events point will be there. In our material also, you'll be able to find one paragraph, future events, so that if you write also, you will get full marks. I'm telling you, only 3 points will be there in that paragraph. If you write the 3 points also, you will get full marks. Next one, coming to the next part. B Limited is a company manufacturing bed sheets and pillow covers. They have appointed C and Co chartered accountants as their auditors. The auditor is establishing the audit strategy with his team members. As the work progressed, they came to know that the company has diversified its business. Now they are also planning to manufacture wooden furniture. Good. The auditor, in his professional judgment, considered that there is a significant factor in directing the engagement team's efforts. Once again, MTP or RTP. I don't exactly remember it. It is somewhere in the MTP or RTP. I stressed it in the MTP videos. So what are give examples of the factors that in auditor's judgment are significant in directing engagement team efforts? A straightforward question. Exactly same sentence will be there. What will be what are the factors which affect the auditor in directing the engagement team efforts? Same question, exact question, ditto question is there in the MTP or RTP. And even if I have to give you a reference to the answer, if you refer our material, audit strategy, audit planning, and audit program chapter will be there. No, in that question number 1 will be there. What are the factors which are required to be considered while establishing audit strategy? In that 4th point will be there. Significant matters which will help the auditor in directing the engagement team's efforts. Below that 3 examples I would have given. If you write that, you are going to get the full marks. And once again, I'm telling you, this question is there in the MTP or RTP. This question is that directly same exact terminology, guys, exactly there in the MTP or RTPs. If you have followed our videos from the last 2-3 days, and especially I'm telling you, if you would have followed that 3.5 days of strategy for the examination, I'm telling you, this question you would have written and complete marks you would have got it. And once again, I'm telling where you can find it in the material, in my material, audit strategy, planning and program, question number 1. And then in that question number 1 also, point number 4 will be there. There you will be able to find it. Next one. And one more thing, even though we have covered all this in our regular classes, but in the MTP video specifically, I have spent a lot of time in making you understand this. Next one. 3A. CAE. So sorry. CAE is auditor of LM Limited. Before commencing with the current year's audit, he initiated planning for the audit. Planning includes the need to consider certain matters prior to the identification and assessment of risk of material misstatement. Enumerate such matters. So what matters you are required to consider before planning of prior to the risk of material misstatement? They will say this is also from MTP RTP, what analytical procedures you will perform and understanding of the entity and its regulated environment. Then they will say other risk assessment procedures you have to perform, effectiveness of controls. So same question guys in RTPs or MTPs, it is there exact question. Planning includes I think this part is there. Exactly this sentence is there in the MTPs or RTPs. Planning includes the need to consider certain matters prior to the identification and assessment of risk of material misstatement. Enumerate such matters. Only this sentence, this line will be there. Same question has been repeated, 4 marks. That's why I'm telling you, if you would have watched that videos of MTPs RTPs carefully, easily 25 to 30 marks of this descriptive questions you would have answered it. Okay, so that's why I spent a lot of time on explaining that. Clear? So this direct question. And once again, this question is from audit strategy, audit planning and program, which we have highlighted in preparation strategy also. Please focus on this chapter, audit strategy, planning and program. From this chapter, you will get so many marks. So we have seen how many questions till now? Audit program, 1 question we have seen, 4 marks in the question number 1 only. Then we have seen just now this question number 2D, I guess. 3 marks you have get it. 4 plus 3, 7. Once again, 4 marks. 11 marks are there from the audit strategy, planning and program. And I have told you that weightage, in the weightage given by the study material also, they have directly told from the audit strategy, planning and program, we are going to test 12 to 18%. 12 marks are already there here. 11 marks are already there here. I don't know in MCQs how many questions they have tested from the audit strategy, planning and program. If they have tested, please let me know in the comment section. Next one. The management of PQ Limited changed during the period under audit. Mr. G, an auditor, at the time of receiving representation on the management responsibilities from the management, was in a dilemma related to the date and period covered by the written representation. So the moment you read the written representation, SA 580 should come to your mind. In the SA 580 also specifically we have one paragraph, date and period covered by the financial statements. Okay. For the new management was of the view that they can give written representation from the date they took over and not for the prior period when old management was managing the affairs of the company. No, why? Because SA 580 specifically says the written representation should be for every period covered in the auditor's report. So if you are conducting audit for the year 21-22, whether for this entire year the management was there or management change, doesn't matter. Whoever management are there, they are required to give written representations for the entire year. The management cannot say for part of the year we are not the management. We will give only from the date we came to the we came to our role. The management can't say that for the entire financial year for which auditor is conducting the audit. For all that year, auditor management has to give written representation. So you have to write that date and period covered by the written representation, and you have to elaborate that paragraph. Next one. You are appointed as auditor of company manufacturing paints. The company has a robust system of internal control. Most of the controls in the company are automated and are working effectively. However, in certain situations, manual elements in the internal controls are more suitable. What are the circumstances where manual elements in the control may be more suitable? If you refer audit in an automated environment, if I'm not wrong, it would be the last question in my material. Audit in an automated environment. Last question or last but one question. So when automated controls are more preferable, when manual controls are more preferable, when we say unexpected transactions are there, where certain activities are there which are not, where we cannot use the make the help of the systems, or some unusual transactions will happen, those are the areas where we have to use manual controls. In rest of the areas we have to use the automated controls. So like that, one question will be the last question or last but one question, I don't exactly remember. So straight away question from the material. So easily audit in an automated environment, 3 marks they have tested. Next one. PSR and Associates are the auditors of the Saturn Hotel, a chain of 5-star hotels. Since the nature of their business is prone to frauds, the company had appointed internal auditors at various locations. The company has also devised a system of effective and efficient internal controls. The auditors, PSR and Associates, want to use the work of internal auditors. The moment you read this, which standard should come to your mind? SA 610, using the work of internal auditor. In order to ensure effectiveness, what kind of coordination should be there between external auditor and the internal audit function? That means they are asking you, when you want to make use of the internal auditors, what kind of matters you are required to communicate. So we have this objectives paragraph also we will have, and then we will have use the work of internal auditors. So they're asking about type 1 usage. So in the type 1 usage, you need to check some points. There should be communication. You have to check the evaluation of the competence, their capabilities. So like that, there will be certain discussion under regarding the usage of the type 1 work. There you will find some coordination related part also. That paragraph you are supposed to write. So whatever it is, SA 610, this question belongs to. Next one. Fourth question, 4A. KLM & Co. Chartered Accountants, a partnership firm, while designing test of controls and test of details in MN Limited, has to determine the items for testing that can be effective in meeting the purpose of audit procedures. For this, they decided to select specific items from the population. Once again, the question from MTP or RTP. So we have discussed this question in the MTP also. This is, I think, MTP2. This I exactly remember. This is the first descriptive question from the MTP2. You will be able to find selecting specific items. So there are three approaches for testing the items. One is 100% testing, other one is audit sampling, and in between one more thing is there, selecting specific items. So exactly the same terminology, guys. Little bit they have changed the questioning pattern, but this is a concept relating to selecting specific items. So there they will say 3 points. Number one, you can select high value items, or you can select the items over a certain percentage, or you can select certain items to understand the nature of the transactions. These are the factors which we have to consider. So same question is that, this exactly I remember MTP2. This question is there. Why I'm able to remember is I have recorded that video recently and uploaded on the YouTube. In the MTP2, I think first descriptive question, if I am not wrong, same something related to selecting specific items will be there. Once again, a question from RTP MTP. So once again, for this, they decided to select specific items from the population, state the factors that can be considered by the audit firm for selecting specific items from a population, and also state the specific items that can be included for the testing. So once again, the entire discussion is about selecting specific items. Okay, next one. Mr. L is principal auditor of OP Limited. There was several divisions of OP Limited that are audited by other auditors, nothing but principal auditor, branch auditor. State the procedure Mr. L would ordinarily perform to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence that the work of other auditors is adequate for the principal auditor's purpose in the context of this assignment. So this question is from the audit reporting chapter. As a principal auditor, what procedures you will perform before you make the use of the work of the component auditor? Like advise him how you are going to make use of his work, discuss a timetable with him, and also try to communicate significant areas which require special consideration. You can also get a written confirmation from him regarding significant accounting and disclosure requirements which he has to comply. So from some 5 points will be there from SA 600 using the work of the component auditor. That question you will be able to find it in the audit reporting chapter in our material. So that 5 points you have to write here. Next one. So here comes the next question from audit of items of the financial statements linked with the audit reporting, auditors reporting requirements regarding loans and advances. So let us see what they are telling. LD Limited has given below loans to the following borrowers during the financial year 23-24. Mr. B, an auditor, wants your guidance regarding regulatory information required to be provided under the Companies Act. See here, there are two ways of perceiving this question. They have given what kind of disclosure the company has given regarding loans. So they have given borrower wise, related party wise loan, they have given outstanding balance, whatever it is that they have given. See here, there are two ways for interpreting the question. They are asking you, guide the auditor what additional regulatory information required to be provided under the Companies Act. So some students might have written auditors reporting requirements under CARO. Some students might have written auditors reporting requirement under CARO 2020. Some students might have written disclosure requirements under audit of the financial statements. But whatever it is, this is, even if you compare both also, most of the points will match. Here you are there at an advantage. Even if you write some points from CARO, or even you write the points from the audit of items of financial statements relating to disclosure requirements of the loans, in both the cases, most of the points will match. More or less, they will be similar. But whether they are asking auditors reporting requirements or management disclosure requirements is a little bit gray area. Why? Because they are asking you to advise the auditor. But I would feel that since they are asking additional regulatory information, they are mainly asking about companies and disclosure requirements. That's what I'm expecting. But even if you have thought from the perspective of the auditor, and you have written that disclosure reporting requirements of the auditor also, more or less the disclosure requirements, whatever company is required to give, that only auditor is required to check. So you will be at an advantage here. Whether you write auditors reporting requirements or companies disclosure requirements, majority of the points are going to match in both the circumstances. Why? Because whatever disclosure requirements company is required to give, on the same matters auditor is even required to include in his report. Clear? So this is a little bit of gray area, but according to me, they are asking more about the company's disclosure information. But even if you have written the CARO related points also, some points will match. You still have a chance of scoring the marks. Next one. XY and Associates, auditors of PQR Limited, which provides electrical components on a project basis. The purchases are huge, and the auditor wants to make sure that all the purchases made during the period are recorded and there is no understatement or overstatement. For this purpose, the audit team have performed procedures like cutoff test, correct treatment of goods in transit, obtaining written representation, and performing analytical procedures. What are the analytical procedures required to be performed to obtain audit evidence regarding overall reasonableness of purchase quantity and price? This is from audit of items of the financial statements, and they're also asking about purchases. In the purchase also, what kind of analytical procedures you will perform. You will do composition analysis, stock composition analysis, raw material consumption analysis, that quantitative reconciliation you will do. Even if you would have referred that summary material, summary of audit of items of the financial statements. If you remember, in the last 2 days, I have released 2 summary materials. One is audit of items of financial statement summary material, and one more thing is audit of various entities summary. So these 2 summaries I have released recently, and if you would have gone through that, in that purchases section, if you refer there, I have specifically mentioned what analytical procedures. In summary also I have included. So there will be some 3-4 analytical procedures. They would mention that 3-4 analytical procedures you are required to write here. 3 marks easy scoring. Next one. PQ and Co wants to diversify its business, and for that purpose they want to raise money by issuing shares to the general public. The face value of the shares is 100, but the directors of the company propose to issue the shares at a discounted rate of 95 so as to receive more response. Issue of shares at a discount. If you refer to the summary of audit of items of financial statements, if I am not wrong, the first thing will be issue of shares at discount. Issue of shares at discount only, if I am not wrong, more or less. So in the first page of the summary only, you'll be able to find shares issued at a discount. Summary question will be there. This is what the question relates to. But anyhow, let me read it. So PQR and company wants, they want to issue the shares at 95. The statutory auditors, however, objects to the same, as it is not allowed as per the Companies Act 2013. State the provisions of the section 53 of the Companies Act with reference to shares issued at a discount and the consequences where the company fails to comply with the provisions of the act. So this is there. So generally shares cannot be issued at a discount unless in the case of sweat equity shares. If you do it, it will be considered as void. And also in case if you want to issue the shares at a discount as a part of settlement because of some reconstruction scheme or something, then also it is permitted. Or else if the company violates any of the provisions, they have to refund back all the money whatever they have raised, and also they have to pay interest. So first you will be able to find, in the first page of the summary only, you will be able to find the shares issued at a discount. And also in the revision we stressed it a lot in the marathon also. See the result, 4 marks of question is there here. Easy fetching. So this anything we have covered, this anyhow we have covered. B. Coming to the C part. And professional accountant is expected to comply with the fundamental principles of professional ethics at all times. Explain which fundamental principles governing professional ethics is violated. See, when we talk about fundamental principles governing professional ethics, how many fundamental principles are there? Five fundamental principles. So there will be integrity, then we have objectivity, then we have professional competence and due care, then we have confidentiality, then we have professional behavior. So we are required to write here which of the fundamental principle is violated. Number 1, a chartered accountant in practice accepted the appointment as an auditor of a firm in which his sister was a partner. So that means if you accept a audit in which your sister was a partner, there is a possibility of biasedness. You can be biased here. So here objectivity fundamental principle might be violated. So 5 fundamental principles, no, objectivity might be violated, but you might have also written independence. See, if you look from the conceptual perspective, independence, objectivity more or less try to convey the same thing. Objectivity means you should not show any kind of bias. But if you accept a position as an auditor in which your sister as a partner, you have a possibility of compromising on your unbiasedness. You might show bias. So objectivity might be compromised here. In addition to that, there is also an impact on the independence. So don't worry, if you have written independence also, still there is a chance for fetching the marks. If you have written objectivity also, you will fetch the marks. You need not worry about it. Next one. A chartered accountant in practice was approached by his friend to seek some insider information about a company which was a client of a chartered accountant. He could not refuse his friend's request. His friend asked the information, this person shared it. Which ethical requirement, which fundamental principle violated? Confidentiality has been violated. Very good. A chartered accountant in practice failed to inform his client about the changes in the laws applicable to his client. You did not inform the client regarding the changes in the laws and regulations. See, here also 2 things will come to your mind. One is professional competence and the other one is professional behavior. See, professional competence says if you have to maintain and you have to attain the knowledge. You have to maintain and attain the knowledge regarding the laws and regulations. You have to update your skills. That is professional competence. Professional behavior means not doing the work as per laws and regulations. Not doing the work as per laws and regulations, that we call it as professional behavior. If you don't remain updated yourself with the knowledge, with the laws and regulations, that is professional competence. If you violate the laws and regulations while doing the work, that is professional behavior. But if you see the question here, a chartered accountant in practice failed to inform his client about the changes in the laws applicable to his client. See, here there are 2 things. One is the chartered accountant is updated with the knowledge, but he did not communicate it with the client. Then if that is a case, it is a professional behavior, violation of professional behavior. Or on the other hand, if the chartered accountant himself is not aware of the laws and regulations, that's why if he did not That's why he did not communicate it to his client. That will be a professional competence. So two things are involved here. If you already know about laws and regulations, but you did not communicate that to the client, that will be professional behavior violation. If you yourself are not aware of the laws and regulations, that's why you did not communicate with the client, that will be a case of professional competence and due care. So here there are 50-50 chances. We have to wait for this in the suggested answer. That could be a professional competence, that could be a professional behavior also. It all depends on whether auditor has updated his knowledge regarding laws and regulations, but that is not given in the question. So I am expecting it more on a side of professional behavior, but equally there is a chance that professional competence also can be correct. This is one thing which I am waiting for the suggested answer. This I can give a comment, but I told you the logic here. So what assumption IC has taken giving the answer, that we have to wait and watch. Next one. Coming to the next question, 5D. You have been appointed as a statutory auditor of a limited company. The company is registered as a Nidhi company. What are the reporting requirements of the Nidhi company under the Companies Act? Straightforward question. No. If in case if your client is a Nidhi company, what will be reporting requirements? 3 points will be there. Whether the company is maintaining net own funds to deposit ratio of 1:20. Whether they have followed the Nidhi guidelines of depositing 10% in the unencumbered term deposits. Have they made any default in the repayment of dues? That's it. These 3 points, if you write, 3 marks you are going to get. Straight away question. Coming to the next question. CAM is the engagement partner of Y2Z LLP and he is auditing the financial statements of a listed entity ABC Limited. The audit firm has determined that the engagement quality control review is required for this engagement. Discuss the responsibilities of CAM as an engagement partner for quality control review as per SA 220. This is also from MTP1. In the MTP1, we have covered this discussion. In the case of listed entities, you will be able to find, in the case of listed entities, it is mandatory to undergo engagement quality control review. That is mandatory in the case of listed companies. This question we have discussed in the MTP discussion, and also if you find our material, you will be able to find this discussion in the supplementary material. If you refer to the supplementary material, there you will be able to find this discussion of engagement quality control review. Clear? So this is from SA 220 linked with SQC 1. Okay, next one. Coming to the next question. For this question, there is a choice actually. This is from audit of various entities. They are talking about NGO. In the NGO, different kinds of funds will be there. Corpus funds, revolving funds, rotation funds, these kind of things will be there. So what is a revolving fund, that they are asking in a detailed manner. So this question is from audit of various entities. Now coming to the next question. MNB bank advanced certain loans guaranteed by government. Once again from audit of banks. In case government guaranteed advances are there, what will be the NPA treatment? In case advances guaranteed by the central government, that will be treated as NPA. If that will not be treated as NPA if the guarantee is not yet revoked. However, if the guarantee has been given by state government, there is no such special privilege will be there. And one more thing here, even though you will treat it as a NPA, even though you will not treat it as a NPA for asset classification, but for income recognition, we are going to treat it as NPA. If the central government has given a guarantee for asset classification purpose, we treat it as standard only, but for income recognition purposes, we treat it as NPA. That means even though the asset remains in the standard category, we will recognize interest only on cash basis. So this, even if you remember in the 3.5 day strategy, I told, even if you are, in case if you are not able to cover all the concepts of audit of banks, at least try to cover a few concepts I have told. In that I have mentioned this point. In case we are unable to cover entire audit of banks chapter, at least you try to cover a few concepts. In that concepts, even this is also coming here. Understood? Next one. One more last question. D, anyhow, we have covered. One more question is there. Mr. D, an auditor, while auditing ACE Limited, identified certain misstatements in relation to particular class of transactions and account balances. He had communicated same to those charged with governance and also taken written representation from the same. State the audit documentation requirements by the auditor regarding misstatements identified during the audit. SA 450 documentation. What matters you are required to document regarding misstatements identified. Evaluation of the misstatements, whatever SA 450 is there, in that documentation part you have to refer, and that documentation paragraph you have to write it here. Understood? So this is what regarding the question paper. As you could see, most of the questions you are able to answer it. If you have done a reasonable level of preparation, if you have followed our instructions, if you have followed our resources, yes, you would have done it in a very better manner. Clear, everybody? So this is what the question paper analysis. So hope you all have given your examination in a very perfect manner. We will try to whatever responses you have given, actually whatever kind of feedback you have shared here, I'm telling you guys, it gave me a lot of motivation, it gave me a lot of energy, it kept my motivation at a very high level. Going forward, I will be keeping more and more resources, I will be creating more and more valuable resources for your examination. Okay, having said that, take care everybody, bye, see you in the next video.